Max Alert, Commander's Nation. Adam Peters is cooking up a $48 million bombshell for a young B who could completely flip our offense. Are we just hours away from the big move? But hold up, while we're dreaming about the future, we're throwing our franchise receiver under the bus with some toxic rumors. How the hell did we sink this low, right when this team needs us the most? And in the middle of all this chaos, an unknown rookie steps out of the shadows. This is the one shot to become a legend in 7 games. If you don't watch this video, you'll miss the secret that could save our season and the future of the franchise. Get in the game, subscribe now, don't get left behind. News 1. Adam Peters and the $48 million move for Breece Hall after years of watching this team settle for mediocre backfield solutions, after whole seasons depending on washed-up vets and rookies who weren't ready. We finally have a GM who's thinking big. And when I say big, I mean a move that could shape the next 5 years of this franchise. Adam Peters is already eyeing the 2026 free agent market, and there's one name he's locked in on, Breece Hall from the New York Jets. And guess what it's gonna take to bring him to DC? We're talking about roughly $48 million over 4 years. I'm telling you right now, this is exactly the kind of bold move we need to see from this organization. But why Breece Hall? Why drop that kind of cash on a running back when everyone says you shouldn't pay our BS? Let me break down why this makes total sense. Hall is only 24, fully recovered from that brutal injury that ended his rookie season. And when he's healthy, he's one of the top 3 backs in the entire NFL. This dude can do it all, run between the tackles, catch passes, block, be a complete weapon out of the backfield. And here's what gets me hyped. Picture Jaden Daniels with a weapon like Breece Hall behind him. You think defenses are gonna key in on Daniels when they've got Hall coming out of the backfield? You're out of your mind if you think that. That combo would be deadly, straight-up nightmare fuel for any defense in the NFC East. Now I know what you're thinking. But what about Jacory Crosby-Merritt? What happened to all that training camp hype? Let me tell you this. Crosby-Merritt was a 7th rounder who had a hot start but already lost the starting job to Chris Rodriguez Jr. That tells you everything you need to know. He's not RB1 material for a team trying to win titles. And look at what happened this year. Austin Eckler went down in week 2 and his season was toast. Jeremy McNichols is a decent backup, but that's it. And the most frustrating part, while we're scrambling for backfield production, teams like the Eagles have Saquon Barkley dominating, the Cowboys have their committee rolling, and we're out here patching holes and hoping for miracles. But here's the real kicker. The Jets were open to trading Hall before the deadline. You know what that means. New York is in full rebuild mode. And Hall's gonna want out. And where do you think a 24-year-old back in his prime wants to go? To a team with a young, talented QB, an organization finally doing things right, and a GM who's not afraid to make bold moves. Jeremy Fowler from ESPN reported that Hall was a hot name at the deadline. The Jets wanted a 3rd rounder for him, and his next deal could look like Josh Jacobs from March 2024 for years, $48 million. And you know what? I think that's a FAIR price for a player of that caliber at that age. But can we afford it? Won't it wreck our cap? Let me ask you this. Would you rather spend that money on a 24-year-old elite RB who could be part of your core for the next 5 years? Or keep wasting it on 30-plus-year-old vets who give you 1 or 2 decent seasons before falling off a cliff? Let me remind you what happened this year. Peters bet on vets, ran it back with almost the same group as last year, made just 2 big trades, and spent big on 1 free agent. And what happened? We're 3-7 out of the playoffs, watching another season go down the drain. It's time to shift gears. It's time to build for the future. And yeah, I get the risk. Paying our BS on second contracts is always a gamble, we know that. But Hall isn't just any back when he was healthy as a rookie. He was on track to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's got the versatility to be used in multiple ways in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. And you know what else? There are smart ways to structure that deal. It doesn't all have to be guaranteed up front. You can build a contract that protects the team but still gives Hall the security he's looking for. Peters is smart enough to figure that out. We've seen him make calculated moves before. I'm telling you right now, if Adam Peters can bring Breece Hall to Washington, if he can sell him on building a legacy here with Jaden Daniels, we could be looking at the most dynamic backfield in the NFC. Picture this: play action with Hall as the threat, Daniels rolling out, Terry McLaurin running deep routes. That's an unstoppable offense, but of course, it won't be easy. Hall's gonna have multiple teams chasing him. Teams with more money, better records, better short-term chances to win. But you know what we've got that they don't? Jaden Daniels, a young QB flashing superstar potential, someone Hall could build something special with for the next 10 years. And isn't that what every RB wants? Stability at QB, a creative offensive coordinator, and an organization finally committed to doing things right. That's what we can offer Hall. That's what could make the difference when free agency hits in July 2026. So now I ask you, are you ready to see Adam Peters make the boldest move of his Commander's career? Are you ready to see this team finally invest in a prime offensive weapon instead of settling for leftovers? Because I'm ready, and I think Peters is too. And if that shocks you, wait till you hear this, because while we're talking about the future, there's a controversy in the present that's tearing our fanbase apart, and it involves the player who's given more to this team than anyone else over the last 7 years. News 2, Terry McLaurin and the unfair witch hunt. When you think about everything we've been through as Commanders fans over the past decade, all the ways to draft picks, the failed quarterbacks, the years of straight-up mediocrity, there's been one constant. One name that's always shown up, always been professional, always been the leader this team needed: Terry McLaurin. And now, in the middle of a dumpster fire season, sitting at 3-7 and out of the playoff picture, guess who some fans are blaming? Terry McLaurin. Are you kidding me? Are we really doing this? Are we seriously turning our most consistent, most professional, most dedicated player into the scapegoat for this disaster of a season? Let me tell you something. What's happening with Terry McLaurin is a damn shame. It's unfair, and it's exactly the kind of loser mentality that's kept this franchise stuck in the mud for so long. Here's how this whole mess started. Over the summer, McLaurin was in a tough contract negotiation with Adam Peters. Yeah, it was a distraction. Yeah, it got uncomfortable, but guess what? It got done before the season started. The deal was signed, the drama was over, and we should have moved on, but nope. Some fans decided that the contract drama ruined the team's chemistry, that McLaurin was selfish, that he put money over the team. And to those fans, I say this: you are dead wrong. McLaurin had every right to fight for the contract he earned. He's a 2-time Pro Bowler. He's been our best receiver for years. He's produced with garbage quarterbacks, and he's been nothing but a pro. But it gets worse. McLaurin got hurt not once, but twice this year. He's only played in 4 games. And even when he's been out there, he hasn't looked like himself. Why? Because he's playing through injuries. But some fans are blaming those injuries on his summer holdout, saying he didn't condition properly, that he wasn't ready. Let me ask you this: since when are injuries predictable? Since when do we blame players for getting hurt? Injuries are random. They can happen to anyone, anytime, no matter how hard you train. Are we gonna blame every injured player this year for not being in shape? And here's the most ridiculous part. A fake rumor started floating around that McLaurin didn't even show up for the games against Seattle and Detroit. Can you believe that? A completely made-up story, no truth to it at all, and people were spreading it like it was gospel. It got so bad that Jaden Daniels' mom had to jump on social media to defend Terry. Think about how insane that is. The rookie quarterback's mother had to publicly defend our veteran receiver because fans were making up lies about him. That's embarrassing for us as a fanbase. Here's what I think is really going on. This team didn't live up to expectations. We're all frustrated, and people are looking for someone to blame. And because McLaurin had that holdout and then got hurt, He became an easy target, but that's a loser mindset. If the Commanders were as good as we thought they were, they would have moved past the summer drama without a hitch. They would have handled it like pros. But we weren't that good. We weren't ready to compete. And that's not Terry McLaurin's fault. Let me remind you who Terry McLaurin is. In his 7 years in Washington, he's been our best receiver, one of our top leaders, and a total pro. He's supported his teammates, even when he was away from the team during the summer. He's produced with Dwayne Haskins, Kyle Allen, Taylor Heinicke, Carson Wentz, Sam Howell, every mediocre QB we've thrown out there. And now that we finally have a real quarterback in Jayden Daniels, we're gonna turn our backs on Terry. Seriously? While the Eagles are dealing with real drama from A.J. Brown, while the Cowboys are caught up in CeeDee Lamb's contract saga, we're attacking the most professional player we've got. Look, I get the frustration. We're 3-7, we've lost 5 straight. Joe Witt Jr. got demoted as defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn's catching heat. The team is wrecked by injuries. Everyone deserves criticism for how this season's gone. But Terry McLaurin is not the problem. You know what the real problems are? We bet on aging vets who didn't produce. Our defense has been a complete train wreck. We've had brutal injuries at key spots. Joe Witt Jr. clearly wasn't ready to be a DC. Those are the issues, not Terry. I'm telling you right now, when Terry comes back, and he will, along with Noah Brown, they're gonna remind everyone just how valuable they are to this team. They're gonna remind us why Terry's a Pro Bowler, why he's one of the best receivers in the league when healthy. And let's kill this narrative that Terry's been a bad teammate or a bad leader. Have you heard a single player say anything negative about him? Anyone in the locker room throwing shade? Nope, because it's not real. The only people saying this stuff are fans on Twitter looking for someone to blame. Look at what's happening with other teams. The Cowboys are making sketchy moves with Jerry Jones throwing money around. The Eagles thought their stacked roster would dominate, but they're slipping. The Giants are still a mess with Daniel Jones. Meanwhile, we've got Jayden Daniels showing he's the future. Here's the bottom line. Every team has drama. Every team has disappointments. The difference is, winning teams don't tear down their best players when things go south. Winning teams stick together, back their leaders, and work to get better. So now I ask you, are we a winning fan base or a losing one? Because attacking Terry McLaurin, spreading lies about him, blaming him for injuries, that's loser behavior. Terry McLaurin has given everything to this franchise. He stayed loyal when he could have asked for a trade. He stayed professional when he could have stirred up drama. He kept producing when others would have quit. And now that he's hurt and working to come back, this is how we treat him. I think it's time we take a hard look in the mirror as a fan base. We need to decide what kind of fans we want to be. Do we want to be like Dallas fans who ran Tony Romo into the ground? Or do we want to be the kind of fans who stand by our players through thick and thin? The Commanders have plenty of problems this year, no doubt, but Terry McLaurin is not one of them. And when he comes back and helps us win games, I hope every single person who trashed him remembers this moment and realizes how wrong they were. And just when you thought we were done, let me tell you about an underdog who's finally getting his shot to shine in the middle of all this chaos. News 3. Jacoby Jones and his moment of truth with the Commanders playing for nothing but pride in these last 7 games, with the playoffs out of reach and the team fully in evaluation mode. Adam Peters needs to see exactly what he's got on this roster before heading into a crucial offseason, and the best way to do that: throw the young guys into the fire and see who rises. And here's a story that's got me fired up. Jacoby Jones, an undrafted wide receiver out of UCF who's been quietly grinding behind the scenes, just got promoted from the practice squad to the active roster for this 6'3", 200-20-8-pound rookie. This is his first real taste of NFL action, and I'm telling you right now, there's no better time to give him his shot. The Commanders are absolutely decimated at wide receiver. Terry McLaurin is hurt. Noah Brown is hurt. Luke McCaffrey probably just ended his season with a broken collarbone. And if that wasn't enough, Traylon Burks, who started the year with some real momentum, had to get minor surgery on a finger that slowed him down. So what did the team do? They signed Robbie Chosen off the practice squad and elevated Jacoby Jones to the active roster. For Jones, this is the moment he's been waiting for since he signed as an undrafted free agent after the draft. Let me tell you about Jacoby Jones. During training camp, this dude showed flashes of being something special, especially in the red zone. With his size and physical reach, he's got the tools to be a real problem for opposing defenses if he gets the chance. And here's the twist: a lot of people thought Ja'Cory Brooks, another undrafted wideout, was further along in his development. But the decision makers in Washington saw something different in Jones. So now I ask you, what did they see in Jones that they didn't see in Brooks? What does this kid bring to the table that made the team stash him on the practice squad all this time? Just waiting for the right moment. I think it's his mix of size, athleticism, and red zone potential. At 6'3" and 228, he's got the physical profile of a guy who can win 50-50 balls and be a reliable target on third downs. But here's the tricky part: time is not on his side. Terry McLaurin and Noah Brown are expected back soon. When that happens, the Commanders are gonna have to make roster moves, and Jones needs to make damn sure he's not the one getting cut. So how does he do that? By showing out in practice and making the most of every snap he gets in games, because right now, with only Deebo Samuel Sr., Chris Moore, Jalen Lane, a 4th-round pick, and Robbie Chosen available, the Commanders have nothing to lose by throwing Jones into the fire and seeing what he's got. I'm telling you, this is the kind of situation that separates the guys who stick in the league from the ones who fade away. Jones has been patient. He's been working. He's been sharpening his game, the practice squad, getting ready for this exact moment. Now he's got to prove it, and look, we don't even know if he'll be active in Madrid against the Dolphins in Week 11. But what we do know is that with the receiver room this banged up, the Commanders need bodies, they need options, they need someone to step up. And who knows, maybe Jones is exactly the spark this team needs right now. Stranger things have happened in the NFL. Remember Kurt Warner, James Harrison? All those undrafted guys who got their shot and turned it into something big. I'm not saying Jones is the next undrafted superstar, but what I am saying is that he's got a real shot to make an impact. And in a season where everything's gone sideways, where every week brings new injuries and new disappointments, having a hungry young player with something to prove might be exactly what this team needs. Think about it. The Dolphins have no tape on Jones. They don't know how Cliff Kingsbury plans to use him. That's an advantage. That's a chance to catch them off guard, to give them a different look, to maybe steal a few plays they're not ready for. I believe Adam Peters is doing exactly the right thing here. With the season lost and the playoffs out of the picture, why not see what you've got in these young guys? Why not give Jones his shot and find out if he can be part of the future? This is pure evaluation, and it's exactly what a smart GM does in this situation. And look at what's happening with other teams. The Eagles are leaning on their expensive vets. The Cowboys are trying to salvage their season with the same core that's let them down before. Meanwhile, we're investing in the future. We're giving young players a chance to prove they belong and maybe become part of something special next year. So now I ask you, isn't this what we want to see? Don't we want to see the organization thinking beyond this lost season? Don't we want to see Adam Peters evaluating every piece of this roster so he knows exactly what to go get in the offseason? For Jacoby Jones, this is his moment of truth. He's waited, he's worked, he's improved, now he's got to produce. He's got to show he belongs on an NFL roster. He's got to prove that the Commanders made the right call keeping him around. And if he can do that, if he can take this opportunity and turn it into something more than maybe, just maybe, we've found another piece of the puzzle for the future. Because at the end of the day, that's what this part of the season is all about, finding pieces to build something special next year. 48 million reasons to get hyped about the future, one unfair controversy that needs to end right now, and one underdog finally getting his shot. 3 stories that perfectly capture where the Commanders are right now looking ahead while dealing with the chaos of the present. Do you think Adam Peters should go all in for Breece Hall, or is that too much for a running back? Do you agree with me that Terry McLaurin deserves respect, not criticism? And do you think Jacoby Jones has a real shot to make an impact, or is it too late for him? Let me know everything in the comments. I want to hear what the nation thinks about these 3 explosive stories. And if you're as fired up as I am to see what Peters does this offseason, if you want to keep standing up for Terry against the unfair hate, if you want more underdog stories like Jones, then you need to subscribe to this channel. Because this isn't just a news channel, it's a family of Commanders fans who live and breathe burgundy and gold. We're the community that sticks together through the highs and the lows, that backs our players when others tear them down, that believes in the future even when the present is rough. So hit that like button if you think Peters should bring in Breece Hall, subscribe if you're tired of seeing Terry get dragged unfairly, and drop a comment if you want to see Jacoby Jones shine in Madrid, because tomorrow we've got more news, more analysis, more of everything that makes the Commanders the most exciting team to follow. And remember, hail to the Redskins!